I was called the charity case right before I even sat down. I distinctly heard the comment across the dining area. It wasn't a whisper, but it was sharp enough to hurt. The bright light from the massive fixture highlighted every unkind smile and every toast made with false elegance. My foster sister, Savannah, leaned back. Her voice sounded lovely but carried a dangerous edge. She said this table was only for immediate relatives, definitely not for foster beggars. Loud, polished, and cruel laughter spread throughout the expensive restaurant. My face instantly started burning, yet my hand remained steady on the table. The server came over then, dropping a check for $3,100 in front of me like a direct challenge. I quietly moved my credit card over the crisp white cloth. That one swift action changed the whole situation. People always told me I was fortunate. My birth parents died tragically in a vehicle accident, but I didn't end up in the system. Our close family friends, Carol and David Harrington, took me in. They kept smiling during every interview, assuring neighbors they were performing a civic duty. For a while, I genuinely believed them. I was only 5 years old, too young to see the difference between true kindness and mere tolerance. They placed me in a small room at the back of the hallway. It was painted a light yellow, almost as if the color could compensate for its tiny size. I was given Savannah's worn-out clothes and Jeremy's old, cracked school books. I always received stern reminders that I should show gratitude. "You are one of us now," my foster mother would insist, her voice tight with forced righteousness. "Never forget we rescued you." Even back then, I knew it wasn't love. It was a favor that they constantly held over my head. The Harrington residence always looked immaculate from the exterior. White shutters were raised precisely. The landscaping was meticulously neat. David Harrington's luxury vehicles always shined brightly in the morning sun in the driveway. However, the atmosphere inside was always tense. Every compliment came with a price tag. Every meal felt like a highly scripted performance. They would pray before eating, thanking God for their good fortune. Then they would spend the meal assessing who deserved those blessings more than others. Savannah, who was 5 years my senior, was the main focus of their world. She earned straight A's, wore expensive designer footwear, and had a laugh that could switch from sweet to mean immediately. Jeremy, the middle child, followed her around everywhere. And me? I was the silent one, sitting at the farthest seat, making sure my silverware never scraped the plate too loudly. The one person who treated me like I actually belonged was Eleanor Harrington, my foster father's mother. She was in her 70s when I first met her. She was sharp and straightforward. She built Sterling Hayes Pharma from scratch, making her first million well before my foster mother finished college. But she never acted like her wealth elevated her above others. She would visit on Sundays, bringing fresh pastries and that intense, evaluating gaze. "Do you read often, Eva?" She asked me one time. I nodded quickly. "Good. People who read learn how to survive when things are quiet." She was the only one who ever recognized my silence. By the time I reached 28, I had relocated to a small flat downtown. I opened my own small design studio. It wasn't much, just one desk, a single computer, and a clear view of a brick wall. But it belonged completely to me. I had stopped expecting the Harringtons to finally notice me. Despite this, I continued to visit Eleanor. She often referred to me as her most sensible granddaughter. For a couple of hours, her living room felt genuinely safe. Then Savannah sent out an announcement about a celebratory dinner. It was a victory party for a major business deal she had secured. She posted the invitation in the family group chat, which I still hadn't left for some reason. "Everyone is coming," she typed. The photo attached showed a very fancy restaurant, and the message read, "Family only." I stared at the screen for a long time, my thumb hovering. I finally typed, "Should I still plan on attending?" and hit send. There was no reply. The silence in that chat lasted for several days. No response came, not even a simple emoji, just the scene receipt. I convinced myself that it really didn't matter. I was already used to being ignored. But every time my phone vibrated, a small piece of me hoped it was them saying something nice or normal. They never did. 3 nights before the planned dinner, my foster mother called. She wasn't inviting me. She just wanted to remind me of the required attire. "Savannah has reserved a separate dining area," she said. using her usual cheerful, mechanical tone. "Everyone will be in black and gold. You should try to look presentable." Presentable. That was the same word she used when forcing me to fix my hair before church when I was a kid. I confirmed that I would be there. Her relief was obvious, as though avoiding public embarrassment was her only concern. After hanging up, I went to the window and watched the snow gather on the streetlights outside. Eleanor had once told me that snow has two sides. It is soft when it falls, but deadly when it accumulates. I grasped that idea better now. I went to Eleanor's home the next day. She was seated near the fireplace, wrapped in a thick shawl, holding a cup of tea. "You seem quiet," she observed without looking up. I told her about the upcoming dinner. She didn't ask if I actually wanted to attend. She simply nodded slowly. "Let them demonstrate their true selves," she muttered. "Sometimes that is the best gift they can offer." Her words stayed with me. The night preceding the event, Savannah's posts overwhelmed my social media feed. Pictures of expensive gift bags, bottles of champagne, and designer high heels lined up. Her caption stated, "Hard work results in success. So thankful to celebrate with the best family ever." My stomach felt tight. The best family ever. I nearly sent a text message to cancel, saying I was busy, but I didn't. Instead, I retrieved the black dress I bought last year on sale. I ironed it, mended a small loose seam, and placed it across my bed. Then I grabbed my old leather handbag, the one I used throughout college, and slipped in a simple silver bracelet Eleanor had given me years before. She told me it was for luck that evening. I couldn't fall asleep. Every old memory resurfaced. Birthday candles I wasn't allowed to extinguish, holidays where my name was missing from gift tags. By morning, my decision was firm. "I'm going," I whispered to my reflection. Not for their sake, but for mine. The restaurant looked impressive, clearly designed to make a statement. It was brightly lit, with soft white linens and a faint aroma of truffle oil in the air. I got there slightly early, firmly gripping my small clutch. The hostess offered a polite smile. "Party for Harrington?" she inquired. I nodded. When I reached the table, the group was already gathered. Savannah was dressed in golden silk. Jeremy was scrolling on his phone. My foster parents were laughing excessively loudly. For a moment, nobody looked up. Then Savannah turned, her mouth curving just enough to be offensive. "Oh, Eva, you actually showed up," she said, sounding surprised by my presence. "Naturally," I replied, keeping my voice level. "I wouldn't miss this." The hostess attempted to add another seat, but Savannah stopped her. "It's fine, she can just take the end spot." I felt the heat rising instantly up my neck. Eleanor was the only one who objected. "No," she stated firmly. "She will sit right next to me." Her tone immediately silenced everyone else. I gave her a small, grateful smile and took the chair beside her. Dinner service started. Dishes arrived in a smooth sequence. Lobster tails, filet mignon, and wine I hadn't asked for. I stayed quiet, cutting my food into insignificant, tiny pieces. Across the table, Savannah began her lengthy speech about her major deal, detailing how she had successfully closed a multi-million-dollar partnership. My foster father beamed with pride. My foster mother dabbed her lips and commented, "That's exactly like our girl." When there was a lull in the conversation, I spoke up. "Actually," I started softly, "I just signed my largest client to date, a national campaign." My words hung in the air, fragile but completely true. I waited for a simple, "That's wonderful." Instead, my foster mother smiled without looking at me. "That's nice, dear," she said, before immediately turning back to Savannah. "Now tell us more details about your agreement." The subsequent laughter wasn't loud, but it was enough. It was the familiar, dismissive tone I had known all my life. I focused on Eleanor. She remained silent, her own fork untouched, watching their faces. Her jawline hardened, but she didn't say anything. When dessert arrived, Savannah lifted her glass. "To family, real family," she announced, looking straight at me. The others repeated the toast. "To family." My throat felt dry and tight. I took a sip of water, keeping my hands steady even though my heart was pounding hard. Inside, something finally broke. It wasn't a sudden crack, but a slow, definite fracture. "I'm okay," I whispered to myself. "Just fine." The sound of their laughter seemed inhuman now. It was the sharp, hollow kind people used to validate their own belonging. I focused on my glass, watching the chandelier's reflection shimmering on the surface. Then Savannah's voice cut in again, overly sweet and malicious. "This table's for real family, not for foster beggars." The room fell completely silent for a second, then erupted into small snickers and smirks. Even my foster mother laughed, the same high, strained sound she always used when pretending everything was perfectly normal. David Harrington avoided looking at me. Jeremy mumbled something low, but I couldn't understand the words. My cheeks burned hot, yet I kept my head high. I couldn't speak, which was probably better. I carefully pressed my napkin into my lap, deliberate and controlled. Every muscle wanted me to flee, but leaving meant they would win. The waiter approached with a strained smile. "May I get you anything else?" Savannah waved her hand dismissively. "Just the bill, please." He came back moments later and placed the leather folder right in front of me. I blinked, assuming he had made an error. Then Savannah leaned forward, grinning broadly so the whole dining room could see. "You don't mind, do you? Consider it your thank you for everything we've provided for you." Her words felt like a physical blow. I looked down. The total was $3,100. That was nearly 1 month's rent for my apartment. My fingers shook slightly as I traced the numbers. No one spoke up. No one attempted to stop her. I could have refused. I could have simply walked out the door. Instead, I pulled out my bank card. The plastic felt cold against my palm. The server paused, glancing back and forth, clearly sensing the tension. I simply nodded. When the payment machine beeped, the sound resonated deep in my chest. One piercing noise, one transaction settling 2 decades of disrespect. I put down the pen, handed back the folder, and neatly folded my napkin over my empty plate. "All finished," I announced softly. A few seconds of absolute quiet passed. I only heard distant forks and soft jazz. Then Eleanor pushed her chair back. The screeching wood on the floor made everyone look. "I'm done," she said. Her voice carried clearly. My foster mother nervously chuckled. "Mother, don't be so dramatic." Eleanor stopped her with a raised hand. "No, I have seen enough of this show." Her eyes fixed on Savannah. "You, your father, and your mother, you forgot what decency means." Savannah looked surprised. "What is this? We were just making a joke." "A joke?" Eleanor's voice got sharp. "You humiliate this girl, my granddaughter, in public. Why? To feel powerful for one dinner." The color left Savannah's face. "She is not your granddaughter." Eleanor stood taller. "You are wrong. She is the only one who has ever acted like family." The table froze. David Harrington missed his glass and slammed his hand flat on the table. My foster mother's forced laugh failed. "I have cancer," Eleanor stated simply. "Stage 4, 6 months." Silence hit hard. Savannah gasped. "Mom, please." "Save it," Eleanor interrupted. "I'm not here for sympathy. I'm here for the truth. I changed my will last week." She turned to me. "Eva gets everything." I didn't process the words right away. I looked at her. She was completely steady. Savannah shot up. "You can't do that. That money belongs to the family." "Family?" Eleanor looked fierce. "You mean the same people who stole $750,000 from a child's savings trust?" My foster mother dropped her fork. "Mother, stop." "I found the records," Eleanor continued. "Every penny Eva's parents left is gone. Spent on trips, private school, new cars. You bought things with her pain." David Harrington hit the table. "You don't understand how costly things are." "I understand perfectly," she cut him off. "You stole what wasn't yours." I was frozen, heart pounding. I never knew about the trust fund. The air felt heavy. Savannah's lips trembled. Jeremy stared silently at his plate. Eleanor looked at me again. "Take me home, Eva." That command broke the spell. Savannah grabbed my arm. "You set this up," she hissed. "You made her hate us." I pulled away. My voice was quiet but firm. "I didn't have to. You did that job yourself." She glared, shaking. "We'll fight it in court. You will get nothing." "I'll see you there," I said. I helped Eleanor stand. Her hand felt fragile but firm in mine. We walked past the shocked table, past the staring strangers. The music faded. Outside, the night air was cold and honest. Eleanor squeezed my hand gently. "I should have done this years ago." Through the window, I still saw them. Savannah yelling, red-faced. My foster mother holding her head. David Harrington signaling the waiter, trying to use money to fix their broken dignity. I didn't feel like I had one. Not yet, just clean. An emptiness that finally allowed for peace. The news broke later that week. Headlines screamed about the inheritance change. Reporters showed up. I stayed quiet. Eleanor did not. She held a press conference with her lawyer. "I am perfectly competent," she declared, "and I am tired of seeing good hearts punished." Cameras flashed. She gave out proof, bank statements, trust fund records, proof of the stolen money. Then she played the video from the dinner. Savannah's voice echoed. "This table's for real family, not for foster beggars." Silence fell. Eleanor looked at the cameras. "This is what cruelty sounds like when it thinks nobody is listening." Savannah then burst into the room. Her voice shook. "She's lying. Eva used her. We raised that girl out of pity. She owes us." Reporters gasped. Cameras focused on Savannah. Eleanor tilted her head. "Did you just say she owes you?" Savannah stammered, realizing her mistake. "I mean we," the lawyer stepped up. "You just admitted that on camera." The video was viral by nightfall, 20 million views by morning. The comments were brutal. What an admission. Justice served instantly. By the time the trial happened, the public was on my side. The judge ruled the will valid. The fund was stolen. Restitution was owed. Eleanor's choice stood. I didn't celebrate. I sat next to her. She whispered, "Silence works when the truth is loud enough." A month later, she was gone. At the funeral, I placed a white rose on her casket, the same white as the dinner cloth. I closed my eyes and heard the credit card beep, but now it didn't hurt. It sounded like one door closing and another opening. The world changed fast, but I didn't. I stayed in Eleanor's house with the porch and the lemon trees. The quiet felt peaceful, not painful. The house smelled like her perfume and old books. I made tea every day her way, 2 sugars, no milk. David Harrington got 3 years for financial fraud. My foster mother sold the house to pay legal fees and left town. Jeremy's loan story came out. His fiancée left. Savannah lost her business after the viral clip ruined her reputation. Brands cut ties overnight. Reporters asked for comment. I never gave one. Nothing else needed saying. Justice, once delivered, needs no follow-up. I focused on my design work, then started something bigger. I used some of the inheritance to start the Eleanor Foundation. It helps foster and adopted kids who were cheated or ignored. We provide lawyers, therapy, tuition, everything I once needed. The first check felt like redemption. A year later, an application came in. Savannah Harrington, requesting money for financial trouble and therapy. I read it all. She wrote she lost everything, was sorry, and wanted a second chance. I thought about approving it. Then I remembered her cutting laughter at the table. I stamped the file denied and moved on. Some wins are quiet. Mine was, that night I lit a candle for Eleanor. "We did it," I whispered. The flame was steady and bright, like she heard me. I visit her grave every Sunday. The city noise fades there. I tell her about the foundation and the 200 kids we have helped. I imagine her small, knowing smile, the one that meant she saw the ending long before I did. People ask if I forgave them. I say, boundaries are freedom, not forgiveness. Family is who never made you pay for your seat. If you fought to be seen, share your story and subscribe. Someone needs to hear it.